Welcome to another episode of the For the Love of Cricket podcast with Jim and Akim. Today we'll be discussing a game played between England and Sri Lanka in the group stages of the Cricket World Cup. Pretty disappointing performance from England in the end. Sri Lanka coming out victorious pretty easily by 8 wickets in the end. What is your take on today's game?
I think Sri Lanka played a very good game of cricket. They probably came into this game under the radar. The English team, you know that they always come in a lot of fanfare, a lot of media hype. They haven't showed up at this tournament, and the performance today really sums up how their tournament has been. I think it's the second time that they've been bowled out for less than 200 in the tournament. Disappointing batting display when you look at the team on paper. A number of players have not turned up to the tournament. Jos Buttler, the captain, he hasn't turned up to the tournament at all, and he is somebody that should be under a lot of pressure in terms of his place in the team and his position as 50 over captain. We know how the media is in England. I know that the journalists must be having a whale of a time now preparing the articles, but they are well within their right now because it has been a disappointing tournament thus far from the English team.
Compared to how they start the tournament and how they have played so far, I would say they had a pretty decent power play today. They were 1 for 57, and then it just crumbled from there. Openers, Bairstow getting 30 and Malan getting 28. The highest score after that outside of Ben Stokes' 43 was 14 by the number 9 batsman, David Willey. Could you give us a breakdown of how the innings went for England?
As you said, they started fairly well in the power play, Malan and Bairstow. Funny enough, the first ball of the innings, Bairstow could have been out if Sri Lanka had reviewed. An in-swinger was bowled and it hit his pad before it hit the bat. Almost went to the boundary. Those must be some very good pads that Johnny Bairstow is wearing, by the way. But after that, it was a decent start in the power play. Angelo Matthews into the squad for Sri Lanka, seasoned campaigner, veteran, over 220 one-day internationals. Somebody that I thought should have probably been at the World Cup from the start. Came into the team and he picked up a big wicket. He got Malan out, and then the tide of the game seemed to shift from there. Joe Root is the batsman that holds the batting together for England. He is the best player, I would say, in all formats, most rounded player, has the most skill, most adept at batting in these conditions, and he got run out today, and it seems as if when his wicket fell, it sent shockwaves through the team. He is the batsman that holds the team together and has held the team together in the games that they have gotten decent scores in thus far. He got run out. Ben Stokes got 40. Didn't look at his fluent best, and then after that it was a procession. Jos Buttler has gotten out the same time, the same way, probably 3 or 4 times in this tournament thus far. Disappointing. Liam Livingstone, you're not really sure what he's playing at, what he's playing as, what his role is in the team. Moeen Ali, disappointing dismissal, and then it just all crumbled from there. You look at that team on paper and you say there's no way that they should be scoring less than 250 in a one-day international. 250 on a bad day, and they've gotten bowled out for less than 200 twice in the tournament. Really below par.
You're right when I say you don't know what Liam Livingstone is playing at, because the ball missed his bat by a mile today. You mentioned Angelo Matthews coming back into the team for the millionth time, but you said he should have been in the squad at the beginning. That would have been difficult. In the last World Cup cycle, he only played 10 games and didn't play any in 2021 nor 2022. He played a couple earlier this year in about May and never bowled. So this is his first time bowling since the pandemic. So would have been difficult. I guess they were trying to groom some youngsters that seemed to be promising, but it never went so well. Sri Lanka is playing a senior bowling lineup again. They finally brought the adults to the World Cup and sent home the boys. As you know, Patirana has been sent home. Lanka is on the bench, and Lanka is bowling again. So they have Chamira, they have Kumara, and they now have Angelo Matthews doing most of the work with the ball. England's batting, however, has been, as you mentioned, was not up to par. I also see in the media, well, on the internet really, like Twitter, cricket Twitter, they are being chastised for being overly attacking. But when you look at the shots that they are playing to get out, they are basically either defending or trying to rotate the strike when they are getting out. The only person that got out today playing an attacking shot was really Johnny Bairstow. Ben Stokes, but Ben Stokes' case was he was what? They were 8 down?
Yeah.
So he was on 40. It was probably time for him to get his innings going because he crawled to 40. Basically standing at one end and watching the wickets falling around him. I saw Ben Jones put a stat on Twitter as well. England averages 25 when they're trying to rotate the strike. So when they're trying to take ones and twos. So they're struggling to turn the strike over. They're getting out trying to turn the strike over. As opposed to what the general narrative is of them being overly attacking and getting out. On the other hand, South Africa and India averages 425 when looking to take ones and twos. So it's pretty glaring. They are struggling to basically play basic cricket. The entire 11 that they put on the field is out of form.
Yeah.
It is very difficult to change from that or improve from that. We saw where Australia had the ability to just tune up a few things. They had problems catching. I thought their fielding was their main issue, and minor strategic changes. But when you're having issues with the talent meaning persons being out of form and being unable to execute, there's no plan you can put together to dig yourself out of that.
That's true.
So how did you think the Sri Lankans bowled?
I think they bowled fairly well. They used the conditions. When you look at some of the wickets that fell from England, it almost looked as if the ball wasn't coming onto the bat how they would have liked. A number of batters, like chip balls in the air, tried to drive off the up. It wasn't really there. You saw Ben Stokes trying to force some shots in his innings. The timing wasn't really on, so it seemed as if it was a pitch that was a bit too paced, probably on the slower side, and it suited medium pacers, I think. Angelo Matthews bowled well, and then Kumara, who is fast, medium, fast. Fast. he bowled fairly well, I think. A lot of questions, I think, to be asked of the English batting. There are a number of all-rounders that are in the team. You look at somebody like Liam Livingstone, you look at Moeen Ali, Ben Stokes is an all-rounder, and even David Willey. Adil Rashid is capable with the bat as well, but nobody seems to be getting it together for them. Malan has scored a century earlier in the tournament. Joe Root has 2 half centuries. But then when you look at the engine room of the team, number 4, number 5, number 6, even 7 and 8, they have gotten nothing from them in the tournament thus far. So major questions need to be asked about that department of the team. Whether, I don't think it's a lack of ability, but as you said, it seems as if all the batters in the team are out of form. They need to change the whole squad if they're going to compete in the World Cup. It's just not adding up. It's not making any sense.
Well, when you coming in, they would have struggled with the bowling, but we could not have foreseen
The
batting being this awful. Was it you that shared a stat with us where only 2 of the 11 played list A cricket this year.
Only two players have played list A cricket in England since the last World Cup cycle, since 2019.
And Malan played the most.
Those two are David Malan and Gus Atkinson. David Malan has played 8 list A games since 2019 in England, and Gus Atkinson has played 2. Gus Atkinson is fairly new. He's fairly new to first class cricket, professional cricket, international cricket. He's new on the circuit, but none of the other players have played a single list A game for their county since the last World Cup.
And 2 of those 11, one basically retired but never really announced it, and the other one fully retired and then came back. So it's they're in a tough spot, and knowing England at the moment, heads will roll at the end of this World Cup. But how difficult do you think it is to concentrate on 3 formats? We know basically the 3 formats in cricket right now are basically 3 different sports. They have to be rotating a similar squad of persons around, trying to fit in all 3 of them and do well. We saw them concentrate on winning the T20 World Cup. They were successful with that. They have a rejuvenated test team at the moment. And as a result, their 50 over game has struggled or has suffered.
I personally don't buy the argument, because when you look at some of the major teams in world cricket, when you look at the likes of Australia competes in everything. Australia, they're a competitive team in everything. They're challenging for the 50 over World Cup. They're a proper test team, and they won the T20 World Cup recently, even though they weren't fancied. So I don't think it has to be a case of them needing to fully channel all the efforts and almost all of the resources of the cricket board into one format for them to do well. I think better can be done with the balancing, with the scheduling, with the emphasis that is placed on 50 over cricket. And sometimes I think it's just a lack of care from the players as well. Some of the players just did not seem interested.
Well, we know Jason Roy and Bearscough and Butler voiced concerns that they weren't playing enough 50 over game, and it was as if they forgot how to play the format, and it is showing right now. Onto the Sri Lankan batting effort, how was that for you?
I think it was a very good batting effort, calculated. Pathum Nissanka got 77 not out. He is somebody that I have spoken about, that I think he has all the skills, the skill set to do well in this tournament and in these conditions. He's a touch player. He's somebody that looks to occupy the crease. He's not a blaster of the ball. He is more in the mold of someone who looks to bat 35-40 overs for the team. And this sort of chase today would have suited him. He knew that if he occupied the crease for Sri Lanka and they batted 30-35 overs, they would have gotten this score comfortably. Very good knock, very good half century. We know his strengths: strong square of the wicket, through the offside, driving the ball, rotating strike. Very good knock from him.
Samara Wickrama made 65 as well.
I was waiting for you to pronounce his name. I think he was also good. He has been good in the tournament thus far. He has gotten a half century before this. I think he was a 90. And he is somebody that is holding the middle order of the Sri Lankan batting together. He has played with some responsibility. He has been calculated. And he's been batting well. When you look at the Sri Lankan unit now, they probably have an outside chance of making the top 4. They weren't fancied to make the top 4, but they're coming into the tournament in fairly decent form, you would think, because they went to the Asia Cup and they went to the finals there. They had a horrible game in the final against India, I believe. Awful game.
50.
They got bowled out for 50, but it's a fairly young team. It's a young team. They are going in a new direction. We know that they have not really recovered from the loss of some of the legends that they've had in previous years, the likes of Sangakkara, Jawardina, Malinga, Murali, all those guys. It has taken them some time to transition into the next phase of their cricket. Those guys are proper legends, not only for Sri Lankan cricket, but world cricket in general. They are legends of the game. So it will take some time for them to transition, especially because they're a nation that is probably not blessed with all the resources of probably an England or Australia or India. So that transition will take time, but they're looking like a promising young team. I did say that I thought that this World Cup was probably one World Cup too soon for them, and they would probably really be a force in the next one. But they're playing good cricket thus far, and in the games that they've lost, they've scored over 300 runs.
Continuing on the point with Samara with Rama, he's a pretty interesting player. He epitomizes what can happen when a cricket board, channels its effort one player and tries to make them the best that they can become. He debuted in 2017 at the age of about 21.
Yeah.
Was missing from the team for a while. Basically returned earlier this year and played all 20 games that Sri Lanka has played this year thus far. He's now 27, 28. And it's showing fruition. He's basically come into this tournament with a number of one-day games behind it. So he knows exactly the tempo to score at, how to play each phase of the innings, and how to set his score for success. And it's really good to see him being successful throughout this tournament. He's been averaging about 30.
Yeah.
So he's been doing well. Not much to say about English bowling effort. I guess David Willie bowled well. He got 2 wickets. Both pretty soft dismissals from Pereira and the man with the heavy captaincy on his shoulders at the moment. It seems like for this year, being Sri Lankan captain is like you put on a ton on your shoulders. Since becoming captain, he hasn't passed 10.
It seems as if the captaincy has brought a lot of weight onto Josh Butler's shoulders as well, because he's been struggling all World Cup. So that is something to look at. The captains in this game have been struggling. He started the tournament fairly well. Got in brilliant form, guns blazing, very attacking, got a century and a big half century. But since he's become the captain, he has struggled. So it's funny to see, but the team, they're playing well and they're getting wins, they're getting results now.
So England, they still have a chance to. They unbelievably, they have a chance to still come third in this, coming out of this group stage, if they can win all 4 games going forward. As do Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka can make it to the top 4 as well, or possibly the top 3. So, if both teams can play their cards right, it is not outside the realm of possibility for them to make it to the semi-finals. However, England has India, Pakistan, Australia, and the Netherlands to face. Seeing how Netherlands is playing, it might be difficult, or it might be inaccurate to say that they will be a walkover for England. Australia is on the way up. Pakistan is a tricky team as always, and India is the strongest unit in this competition thus far. Do you see them winning any of those games?
I think they'll struggle. They'll probably win 1 game. If they decide to turn up against the Netherlands, they might win. Pakistan, not too sure how that will go because they are struggling for form, but I say Australia beating them for sure.
Do you see Sri Lanka pulling off another victory given that they have adults playing at the moment?
It's possible. It's possible. When teams are in form and they're playing good cricket, they have confident players. They can spring surprises. Anything is possible. They will be looking at the charts and thinking, another win or two here, and we might be in the big time. So they will have renewed energy, and they'll be looking at the tables and thinking that they can pull some surprises and sneak into the top four.
All right. Things are getting tight in the World Cup, guys. Keep yourself tuned, and we'll be here giving you all the reviews and the updates as to the proceedings of this tournament. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, guys. I think whoever is in charge of the travel arrangements at the ECB, they need to contact a travel agent and get flights arranged for the team to land at the Heathrow airport.
It's worth it halfway through.
It's been shocking. It's been disappointing. Thank you, guys.